Hey G fans, Gojifan1993 here, and welcome to my 1000th video. Oh my god, I cannot believe I've made over 1,000 videos. I need to get a life. Anyway, so welcome to the next episode of Kaiju discussion, and in celebration of my 1000th episode, I am going to finally get to talking about Gigan, one of the, in my opinion, probably the most interesting kaiju that Godzilla has ever fought. Now, first, I want to put out a little disclaimer. This is not, I'm not going to be talking about any other kaijus in the future. Like, I'm not going to be making kaiju discussion videos on other monsters. I just wanted to focus on Gigan because to me he's the most interesting kaiju that Godzilla's ever fought. So don't request like, oh, do Baragon or oh, do Megalon. I'm not really going to do that. But before we get to Gigan, and I think my sign is actually falling off. So if that falls, you guys, I basically taped it up there. But anyways, but first off, before we get to Gigan, the main event, I actually want to talk about two other kaiju really quickly. So first off, I wanted to talk about Megalon real quickly. So over the past couple months or so, ever since I posted my top 5 aliens top list, people have been kind of confused on why Megalon was on that list, because a lot of people thought Megalon was a mutant, or that he just wasn't an alien because he came from Earth, underground, and just popped up. But basically, like, I think Megalon obviously is some kind of mutation, yes, but he is an alien in the terms of not necessarily. There goes the sign. Okay, it's all fixed now. Hopefully it doesn't fall again. If it falls again, I'm not putting it back up. Anyway, so where was I? Megalon, I think like I said, he's not an alien in the sense of he came from outer space like Gigan or King Ghidorah or Orga or anything like that. But he still is kind of an alien due to the fact that he's not really from our, I guess, human world. I mean, he's from the Cetopian people, which I presume were underground. So it's kind of in the sense of calling him an alien as in just not from our world, I guess, or from our land or something like that. You can go into politics and stuff like that because we even use alien in the real world as, for other countries and whatever. But I don't want to get into politics. So anyways, so that's with Megalon. Take with that with what you will. If you guys still think Megalon's not an alien, that's fine. But the next one I wanted to get to, which is actually King Ghidorah from the Heisei version. Or from the Heisei series. King Ghidorah, when I recently watched Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah from my Godzillathon back in May, something blew my... I can't believe I didn't think about this of all the times I've seen the movie, but right here, when I watched the movie, I noticed that, King Ghidorah actually never came from space in the Heisei version, and, I might be really late on this, or I might sound like a complete dumbass, but I just realized that King Ghidorah is a mutant in the Heisei series. He's not from space. He's actually a genetically made monster from the Heisei series, and when I watched the film again, the little Dorats, the 3 Dorats, those were like the, I forgot her name, but the female character said that these were genetically made creatures, and then the nuclear blast hit and created King Ghidorah. So right there is your proof that King Ghidorah is actually a mutant instead of an alien in the Heisei series. I just, that blew my mind when I finally, realized that. I don't know if I'm late on this or if I bet so many other people already know this. I was just like, whoa. So, anyways, alright, on to the main event, Gigan. Alright, now, where do I even start with this monster? So, okay, basically I just want to cover his origin really quickly. Now, the thing about his origin that's really interesting is that Gigan doesn't really have a clear origin. I don't think Toho's ever really put out an official statement on where Gigan officially came from. So I'm just kind of going to go, I'm going to talk about the Showa and my theories on, where he came from, and also the Millennium Gigan. I'll probably talk a little bit about, what he might have been. So basically, my theory with Gigan, specifically speaking the Showa Gigan, is I think he's... Okay, well actually, before I start, also this video's unscripted, so, if you guys don't like unscripted videos, I'm sorry, but actually right here I'm going to post a picture of a figure that's out there of Gigan before he became a cyborg. And this picture is really interesting because it shows what I think it was maybe a concept sculpt or something like that, but this gives us an idea of what Gigan actually looked like before he got turned into a cyborg. So I think this picture is really interesting. So, and you can find it on the internet as easily as I did. So keep that image in mind when I'm talking about my theory on where Gigan came from. So basically, I think, you know, he was on his own homeworld, and you know, I was thinking that there's like a race of Gigans, basically, and they're all kaiju, big monsters and whatever. Think of it like the dinosaurs, you know, when they roam the planet. Basically, the whole planet's full of Gigans. And then the space, I'm trying to read this because I keep on forgetting, the M Space Hunter Nebula people that were from Godzilla vs. Gigan, the cockroach aliens. What I'm thinking is that they came over to Gigan's planet and they basically, you know, almost annihilated the whole race, and maybe they kept a couple, or maybe they only kept one alive to create what we know as Gigan. And so obviously, like, when they, like I say, I'm gonna use him as an example. So, like, you know, they took Gigan and they wanted a warrior to take over planets and stuff like that. Obviously, to take over the Earth when in Godzilla vs. Gigan, when they wanted to do that. So they wanted to create a monster, and so what they did is basically, like, when I look at Gigan, I see, you know, his skin, like his original look. So that picture again, remember that picture that I showed you guys? And basically what they did is they cut his beak off, or like his mouth. They replaced it with a metallic armored beak, and then they cut off either his top like horns and then replaced it with the sharp horns. They didn't really do anything to his wings. Back here they put a blade, or like a, you know, a pointed part on his tail. And also, probably the most gruesome part is his belly with the buzzsaw. I mean, that's not there when he, you know, his original form. So that's there with the cybernetics on him. That probably messed him up. And then also his hands or his arms basically were cut off and replaced with these, you know, obviously the claws that we know. And once again, his feet also being replaced by just, you know, sharp objects. So they basically, I mean, a pretty gruesome story if you think about it. I mean, poor Gigan, I mean, and he was probably operated on while he was conscious. And, you know, also his eyes. I mean, think about how worse that was. They probably took his eyes out and replaced it with a visor, cybernetic visor. And that's why we call him a cyborg, because, you know, he's half, I guess, for lack of a better word, human slash robot, whatever. A robot chicken, I guess. Robot chicken, reference. Okay, anyways, obviously then they gave him, you know, the laser eye and stuff like that. So basically that's my theory. That's just a gruesome transformation that they forced Gigan into. And also his brain, they, you know, replaced it with probably some kind of, you know, computer thing that kind of took away his being, like his normal, once again, lack for a better word, humanity. Took away his, you know, who he was, and just turned him into a mindless, you know, killing machine. Which is why Gigan is very, very brutal in the movies. I mean, if you think about it, Gigan is one of Godzilla's most brutal opponents. I even talked about this in my top 5 toughest enemies when I put Gigan 72 in the list. So that's my theory with Gigan, at least the Showa Gigan. Now when it comes to the Millennium Gigan, I think it pretty much is the same thing, except for instead of the Nebula Space Hunter, it's so hard to remember, it was actually the Exilians that basically did probably the same thing. But the thing that's interesting is that when you see Gigan in Final Wars, he starts, his first appearance is in, like, he's all, you know, like, and he looks like an antique, or like he's just rotted or something. Like, I don't know what to say, but it's just, and like, he's there, and then all of a sudden the Exilians, like, you know, say, "Rise, Gigan," and Gigan just breaks out of it and stuff. So, like, I'm trying to figure out where, like, why did Gigan turn out there? And also, he had to be centuries old, because in Final Wars, even though I think it's kind of a BS way to get Mothra into it, what they did state in the movie is that because, like, Gigan fought Mothra centuries ago, like, they've been in this constant war, so that means Gigan fought Mothra a lot. Like, there was a huge battle probably even before the humans were on Earth. I don't know. It's really interesting, and they just don't develop that story enough to where I just don't really care, but it's really interesting when you think of where the origins of the Millennium Gigan came from. Once again, changing up his whole look. Let's see, I'm gonna look at this guy, you know, replacing, once again, his hands with claws, all this stuff, but I mean, this one's obviously more meaner. I mean, they really put armor on him like crazy. Even his torso, they kind of replaced. I mean, the Millennium Gigan is actually more of a robot than the Showa Gigan. Like, there's barely any resemblance of the original, of what Gigan actually looked like before they turned him into the Millennium Gigan. But anyway, so yeah, but those are basically my like theories just off the top of my head, things that I've been like thinking of, and like, you know, how Gigan became. Now there's another interesting theory that actually I got an email earlier today about. Let me try to bring it up here. So this theory was from Royce Teo Corporations, and he sent me this thing on Facebook when I posted my announcement for this video. And basically this is what he had to say. Gigan is actually a man/alien who is in Project Gigan. That the Exilians forced him into the project, and if he was not cooperative, his families will be shot, like in North Korea. So they built a mech out of space titanium, a mech out of space titanium and old Kaiser bones, with the rotten meat and cyber skin bringing it to life, but they just needed a brain. So I mean, right there, you know, is a really, really interesting theory, and way dark. I mean, it's like, wow, it's kind of, you know, Exilians come down, and you know, it's like, and he said his family, so that's why I'm thinking there was obviously a race of Gigans, and they were annihilated or something like that. I don't know, basically almost extinct. So it's just really interesting with the origins of Gigan. So now that I got that out of the way, I wanted to just talk about the monster itself and like why I love this monster so much. Now obviously right here, I'm just going to talk about what I have right here, because you guys are probably wondering, you know, all this stuff. Back here is a character render from Godzilla Unleashed that's actually from the offices where Simon Strange worked to make Godzilla Unleashed. And that's actually signed by Simon Strange. I love this piece. So yeah, that's really awesome. Here's the Treadmaster large-scale Gigan, I guess. Down here's the soundtrack for Godzilla vs. Gigan. We have here the X Plus 30cm Final Wars Gigan. Right here we have the 50th anniversary Godzilla vs. Gigan movie. Bandai Memorial Box Gigan. Bandai Creation Gigan. Bandai Creation Fusion Gigan. Bandai Creation Gigan Final Wars. And then we have the 12-inch Bandai Gigan, or Bandai Creation Gigan figure, Final Wars, and here is the Blu-ray of Godzilla vs. Gigan, which is also known as Godzilla on Monster Island. And then we have the little chibi figure right here of Gigan, which I think is really awesome, and then we have the little Pack of Destruction Gigan right here. And then behind everybody, I also have another Treadmaster figure of Gigan. So, that's basically, I mean, this is like my whole Gigan collection that I have so far. And I love it, you know, because I love Gigan. So, basically, another thing, you know, moving on to why I like Gigan so much is, like, Gigan is, like I said, the most interesting kaiju that Godzilla has ever fought. And, you know, if it wasn't for Space Godzilla, Gigan would be my #1 favorite enemy that Godzilla, or my #1 favorite monster other than Godzilla in the Godzilla franchise. You know, I mean, like, Gigan is so close to Space Godzilla, to, you know, how much I like Space Godzilla. But Gigan is just, like, so much more interesting. Like, the overall design is really unique and original. And it's just, and his roar is really cool, especially the Final Wars roar. My favorite addition is the Final Wars look. The Final Wars design, I think, is way superior than the Showa. It's just more, it just shows off more of a villain of what Gigan really should be, and like the grin that he has. I mean, Gigan literally has a grin in the Millennium version. It's just like, oh, it's just so brutal and so awesome. But the Showa one is also good, and when it comes to Showa versus Millennium, I actually do think that the Showa is more powerful, because in the movies, and I'm going by what the movies showed us, the Gigan from the Showa series was extremely tough. Like, obviously, once again, referring back to my top 5 toughest enemies list. So, you know, Gigan Showa is less stylish and more, I guess, there's more meat to him. But the Gigan from Final Wars is more stylish and less meat, or, you know, less powerful, less, you know, quality, I guess, or whatever. But I still like the Final Wars Gigan, even though he got his head blown off 2 times. One by Godzilla and the other by Mothra. Even by his own blades. Yeah. This Gigan wasn't that smart. But anyways, so yeah, Gigan is really freaking awesome. I love the overall concept of what this character is, and it's just, oh, cannot get enough. The other things that I wanted to talk about were also like appearances that he made in. So first off, we have the 1972 Gigan. I'll show pictures right here. Basically the original Gigan when he was originally made. Really awesome movie. Didn't really dig the movie, but I love the final battle between Godzilla and Gigan. And then we move up to the 1973 suit, which a lot of people overlook. I like the 1973 suit as well. This was the suit that Gigan fought along with Megalon to fight Godzilla and Jet Jaguar. But then, before we actually move into the future, we actually have the 1973 suit that actually was in Zone Fighter. And I know a lot of you guys would get mad at me if I didn't mention Zone Fighter, because Gigan was actually a big opponent in Zone Fighter. And what's really interesting is that Gigan actually met his demise at the hands of Zone Fighter. You guys can actually watch a video on YouTube where Zone Fighter literally kills Gigan. I mean, and this is crazy because in the Godzilla films, Gigan always, retreated at the end. Like Godzilla vs. Gigan, he ran away. Godzilla vs. Megalon, he retreated after his arm being broke. But but in Zone Fighter, it was Zone Fighter that actually killed Gigan. Spoiler alert, I guess. So it's nuts the way that Gigan actually met his demise at the hands of Zone Fighter. Out of all the monsters, including Godzilla, Zone Fighter was the one to finish off the Showa Gigan. It's pretty funny. But then obviously we move up to the 2004 Gigan, my favorite from Final Wars. Obviously getting his ass handed to him by every monster. He was not tough whatsoever. I don't know why they did that to him. They really just, they made him kind of sucky in Final Wars, and because it doesn't fit the design. Like, you look at a design like this and you're like, yeah, he's gonna kick ass. But no, he gets his head blown off in 5 seconds by Godzilla, and then when he's fighting Mothra, Mothra literally tricks him because he has this ability where I guess blades come out of his torso and they shoot up, and then Mothra just did a trick or whatever, and the blades just came right back towards Gigan and sliced his head off. And I'm like, really, Gigan? Is that the best you can do? But so yeah, but those are basically the appearances. He also made an appearance in Godzilla Island, which is this very unknown Godzilla series that was very short in Japan. It's like a puppet kind of show. It's really confusing. I don't know, but he made an appearance in there. He also, in the video games, plenty of the video games, he was in Godzilla vs. Draw All Monsters, in Save the Earth, Unleashed. He was also in plenty of the older games. I think Gigan's been in the majority of Godzilla games just because he's such a popular monster. And also, in the Godzilla games, when it comes to the Atari trilogy, he's definitely my favorite to play as. I just can't get enough of playing as Gigan. I also hope that, talking about the video game part, I hope that Godzilla, this PS3 game, that Gigan makes an appearance. Probably considering that SH Monster Arts has already made a Millennium Gigan, maybe the Millennium Gigan will make an appearance in there, but because Jet Jaguar was confirmed to be in the PS3 game, there's a chance that the Showa Gigan skin can make an appearance as well. Or they might have both, and you can pick whichever skin. I hope they do that, but probably not. I'm not holding my breath. I just hope at least one of these versions of Gigan comes into the video game. I think that'd be awesome. So yeah, but and also the abilities of Gigan. Gigan has a lot of abilities. Obviously we have the claws here. Now it changes from the Showa, from the Millennium. So I'll talk about the Showa first. The Showa Gigan basically simple. Just has his buzzsaw. That's like his main attack, or his most deadly attack, I would say. Obviously his claws. He just hits Godzilla's forehead, makes him bleed. And he can fly. And also his laser eyes, definitely shoot you and hurt you. So that's pretty much all Gigan Showa can do, unless I'm missing something. I'm probably missing something, and if I am, shoot me. A lot of Showa fans can get mad. Whatever. The Millennium Gigan has a lot more to him. Once again, having the same abilities that the Showa has, with the buzzsaw, so he has the buzzsaw, and then he shoots the lasers from his eyes. But what's interesting is that, if you notice the difference between the Showa and Millennium, is that Gigan and the Millennium, he shoots, but it's like a shotgun burst, or like it starts out and then it spreads. It's like a shot. I like how it's a shotgun kind of burst, spread fire, instead of just a straight laser. Or I think he can, you know, switch to either one. I don't know. They didn't really go into depth once again in the movie. Then he obviously has his claws. But the thing that's really interesting is that with his claws, under his claws, unlike the Showa, this is one of the new abilities. He actually has like hook shots where he shoots it and it can wrap around a monster, which what he tried to do to Godzilla, then get his head blown off. But that's one of the abilities. The other ability that I think is pretty cool, once again I already mentioned it when he was fighting Mothra, is that up here on his torso, little slips open up and discs, like blade discs, fly out and can cut a monster up. So I think this Gigan had so much potential, and they just messed him up in Final Wars, and that's the one of the things about Final Wars that I just cannot stand, how they just nerfed Gigan. I mean, it's just like, one of the best popular monsters, and you just messed him up. So anyways, but yeah, so that's pretty much all I really wanted to talk about Gigan. There's really nothing else. Talked about his origins, talked about why I liked him, talked about some of his abilities, talked about his appearances in the Godzilla franchise, and I think overall, I don't think any fan really hates Gigan. I don't think I've met any fan who dislikes Gigan. I think Gigan is just overall 100% a popular monster in the Godzilla franchise. I think every Godzilla fan loves Gigan. Like I said, I haven't met anybody who says Gigan looks dumb. My friends who come over sometimes and they look at my collection, they always look towards Gigan. They're like, what is that thing? And I explain it to them and they think it's awesome. And these guys are non-Godzilla fans, but yet they look at Gigan and they're like, that's a really cool monster, just because the design is so unique and interesting. So, but that's pretty much it for me. So that's another Kaiju discussion video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys so much for watching 1,000 videos of mine. Now obviously this isn't the official 1,000th video, because obviously there are some videos that I've made that are either on my Daily Motion or they've been deleted, but as of right now on YouTube, this is my 1,000th video. So yeah, I just can't believe 1,000 has come up, and we'll see another 1,000 maybe. I don't know. It's ridiculous. I'm actually glad I got this video out before I kind of started on my little break, kind of my hiatus or whatever, when I start getting a job and move out. So, but yeah, this was it. That's what you guys get. Now, if I made any mistakes, I probably did, because one, I don't script my videos, so there obviously is room for mistakes. And I try my best, and I just like to talk freely, and I like to be myself when I talk about these things. And obviously, I will make mistakes, but especially when it comes to these Kaiju discussion videos. But this is what the purpose of Kaiju discussion is to start a discussion in the comment section below, and I would love to read everything. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, put in the comments of your experiences with Gigan, like what was the first movie you saw him in, what do you like about him. Just talk about Gigan. That's the whole point of this video. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and stay big, G fans.